Good morning, everybody. I want to talk about something that a lot of sixth graders are afraid of, dividing fractions. Okay. Adding fractions and subtracting fractions. We know that part of that's kind of hard because you have to get that common denominator before you can do anything, right? And uh, we know that that's tough. Then we get to multiplying fractions, and kids are surprised to hear that multiplying fractions is what? Hopefully, you have drilled into your brain that multiplying fractions is easy. Remember, you don't have to worry about common denominators. If you had something like 2/5 times 3/7, you don't have to say, well, the fifths and sevenths are different. I got to change those to 35ths and stuff, like if you're adding or subtracting. You just go straight across the top, 2 times 3, and straight across the bottom, 5 times 7, and you're done. Sometimes you simplify. Okay, so we know that multiplying fractions is easy. We know that adding and subtracting often can be hard because you got to get those common denominators. So when we start dividing fractions, we're kind of worried. Is it going to be hard, like adding and subtracting, or is it going to be easy? Well, that's what we're doing today. We're going to figure it out. Okay, so think like a scientist, think like a mathematician. This first problem, 8 divided by 2, what is that? Well, that's 4, huh? How about 8 times 1/2? Well, multiplying fractions is easy. Can I make 8 into a fraction? Yeah, and it's not that complicated. Watch all the different steps you have to do to turn 8, a whole number, into a fraction. Boom, boom. All you got to do is put a 1 under it. You could put a 1 under any whole number, and you've turned it into a fraction, 8 whole, right? Right? So I could have this be a whole number, this be a whole number, and really I could have said 8 over 1 divided by 2 over 1 equals 4, right? It's going to be the same. You can say over equals 4 over 1, okay? Anyway, when I multiply 8 over 1 times 1 over 2, I go 8 times 1 on top, 1 times 2 on the bottom, and then sometimes you have to simplify. 2 goes into 8, right? So 2 goes into 2 one time, goes into 8 4 times. That's 4 over 1, which is the same as 4. So we see that 8 divided by 2 is the same as 8 times 1/2. That's that sound that scientists make when they start thinking, huh? Okay. All right. 12 divided by 4. What's that? 3. Well, 12 is the same as 12 over 1. 4 is the same as 4 over 1. 12 is the same as 12 over 1. 12 over 1 times 1 over 4. That's 12 times 1 on top, 1 times 4 on the bottom. And 4 goes into 12, right? So 4 goes into 4 once, goes into 12 3 times. That's 3 over 1 or 3. So 12 over 1 divided by 4 over 1 seems to get the same answer as 12 over 1. Same thing here, but times 1 over 4. This is flipped. I get the same answer, right? 8 over 1 divided by 2 over 1 is the same as 8 over 1. That's the same. But then I multiply and I flip this number and I get the same answer, 4. Let's try it again. Okay, are we going to get the same answer? 15 divided by 3. Well, how many 3's going to 15? 5. And that's the same as 15 over 1 and 3 over 1, right? So 15 over 1 times 1 over 3, that's 15 times 1 on top, 1 times 3 on the bottom. And I see I can simplify it again. And I think you can predict what's going to happen. 5 over 1, 5. Light bulb, ting, right? You're starting to think, could this be? Could it be that dividing by one fraction is the same as multiplying by that fraction flipped over? Could that be true all the time? Well, it's true these 3 times. Let's try it. I was always sort of dividing whole numbers here. What if I was dividing an actual fraction? Starting, right? Not having to do anything to it. So, how many quarters are in $2? Think to yourself, how many quarters in $2? There's a lot of you good at counting quarters, right? You like money. 25, 50, 75, 1, 25, 50, 75, 2. 8 quarters. Okay, well, what is a quarter? It's 1/4. 2 divided by 1/4 should equal 8. Let's try and see if I can say that's the same as 2 over 1, but instead of dividing by 1/4, I'm going to multiply by 4 over 1. Well, 2 times 4 on top, I get the same answer. How about pizzas? Everybody likes pizza. You can pretend it's pie if you want. Some people call it a pizza pie. Okay. Most of these are cut into sixths, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got these 3 pies cut into sixths. I want to know how many sixths are in 3 pies. Well, what's that problem? 3 divided by 1/6. And again, that's the same as 3 over 1 divided by 1/6. And if our pattern continues, that should be the same as, leave that first number the same, right? The first number always stays the same, right? Right? It always stays the same. But then that second number, instead of dividing the second number, I'm going to multiply by that second number flipped over. What's 1/6 flipped over? 6 over 1. And then when I multiply, I get 18 on top, 1 on the bottom, which is 18. And I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. There would be 18 pieces if I had 3 pies cut into sixths. 3 divided by 1/6. Now, when I first started teaching, I had a friend who I taught with named Lynn Cannon, and he was a really good teacher, taught me all sorts of good stuff. And he said, when you teach the kids how to multiply, you have to teach them this poem, right? This poem by Lord Tennyson, right? Guy lived a few hundred years ago, and he talked like he lived a few hundred years ago. And he had a poem where he said, he actually said ours, but my friend said to teach them, yours is not to reason why, just invert and multiply, right? That's a rhyme. It might help. Yours is not to reason why, just invert and multiply. So what he was saying was, don't ask why, just invert, which means flip over, and multiply. So leave the 3/4 the same and flip over that second number and multiply. Well, I taught it that way for years, but my kids just weren't remembering it. And I remember talking to Miss Nortz, and she's really smart. And we were trying to figure out, the kids, I think they just don't like that 17th century poem, right? That doesn't connect with them. I wonder if we could come up with another way to teach the kids how to divide fractions, right? Because you got the first numbers, and also what would happen was sometimes the kids would make a mistake and they'd invert the first number. Well, you don't get the right answer when you do that. Don't ever mess with that first number. Always leave the first number the same. Okay. We want to leave the first number the same. We want to multiply by the second number flipped over. Okay. So in this case, I got 3 times 8, 4 times 1, and then 4 goes into 24 6 times. So this ends up being 6. Okay. And you could kind of see that if you made a picture, right? Color in 3/4. Now let's turn this into 8ths instead of 4ths. How many 8ths do I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. All right. So I'm going to leave the first one the same. I want to keep the first one the same. I want to multiply instead of divide, and then I want to flip the second number, right? And I remember talking to Miss Nortz about it. Leave that the same. I'm going to multiply and then flip. So instead of 2 over 10, I'm going to say 10 over 2. Now I go straight across the top 40, straight across the bottom 10, and 10 goes into 40 4 times. That's 4. Okay. Keep the first one the same. I'm going to multiply and then I'm going to flip. So this SMF is what me and Miss Nortz were thinking about. Keep that first one the same. I'm going to multiply, and then instead of 1 over 2, what's that flipped? 2 over 1. 3 times 2 is 6. 5 times 1 is. So that's 6/5, which is the same as 1 and 1/5. Okay. So Miss Nortz came up with this cool thing. We wanted to emphasize that SMF, same, multiply, flip. Keep the first one the same. Don't mess with it. It's easier if you leave it the same, right? But I'm going to multiply and flip. Why am I going to flip? Because now I'm multiplying, and multiplying fractions is easy. Okay. So we wanted to do that. She came up with a great way for 6th graders to learn this, especially the boys. You know what it is? SMF, right? What's the mnemonic for SMF? Smell my feet. Smell my feet. Genius. We started teaching kids how to divide fractions by telling them to smell my feet. How do you like that? Yeah, smell my feet. I like saying that. The boys like it. especially the boys. Now, most of the girls like it. Some of the girls say, "Oh, that's gross, Mr. Daniel. Can I change the feet to flowers?" Yes, you can. If you want to change the feet to flowers so it's not so gross, that is fine. And then some of the boys, some of the gross boys, they started thinking, can I change the F to? Don't even think of it, guys. No, you keep it with feet. That's bad enough, okay? All right. All right. So here's the deal. When we divide fractions, you are going to always remember to smell my feet. Yes, smell my feet. Big old shoes, right? Yeah, smell my feet. Yeah. All right. So what does that mean? Same, multiply, flip. Always leave that first number the same. 6 is the same as 6 over 1. I'm going to leave that the same. Write the SMF here, and it'll remind you. The first one's the same. It's easier if you leave it the same. Remember that. I'm going to multiply instead of divide because multiplying fractions is what? Easy, right? And then instead of 2 over 3, I'm going to flip it over and have 3 over 2. Now I have an easy problem. 6 times 3, 1 times 2, and sometimes you simplify, right? 2 goes into 18 9 times, goes into 2 once, so this ends up being 9. 3/4 divided by 1/2. Smell my feet. Some kids just love saying this. 3/4. I get kids sometimes, they're in their room doing their homework and they say it out loud every time they do it. Smell my feet, right? And pretty soon their mom comes in and says, why do you keep saying that? Right? Have fun with this. Now, what's this mean? The M, I'm going to multiply. Why? Because multiplying fractions is easy. And what's the F, man? I'm going to flip it instead of 1 over 2, 2 over 1. Now, I want to re-emphasize, okay, that what you want to always do is leave that first one the same. Leave the first one the same. And remember, it's easier if you leave that first one the same anyway. You're just going to rewrite it. And then all you have to do is worry about multiplying instead of dividing. And you want to multiply because it's easy. And then, so you just have to remember to flip the second number. It's that easy. Write the SMF. Smell my feet. Mom says, why are you doing that? What's the M? Multiply, because multiplying fractions is easy. What's the flip? Instead of 3 over 4, what will I write? 4 over 3. And then I have 4 on top, 6 on the bottom. I can simplify because 2 goes into 4 twice, goes into 6 3 times. All right, 7/12 divided by 1/3. Smell my feet. First one stays the same. Don't mess with that first number. What am I doing for this M? Multiply. Why? Multiplying fractions is easy. What do I do with the 1 over 3? I flip it, 3 over 1. 21/12. 3 goes into 21 7 times. It goes into 12 4 times. 7/12 is the same as 1 with 3 more 12s. Okay? All right. You think you can multiply fractions? Yes, you can. You think you can divide fractions? Yes. All you got to remember is smell my feet. All right? Have fun with this, everybody.